more. During the riots that took place in Dallas, a Dallas police sergeant took a knee with protesters. Sergeant Ira Carter talked with Fox 4's Shaun Rabb about his message that night, his message to the public and to the men and women who wear the badge.
I am visiting with Sergeant Ira Carter, Sergeant of Police with the City of Dallas, Dallas Police Department. Sergeant, thank you for the conversation, especially with everything that's happening right now in our community and our society. You came to my attention through social media. During the midst of the protest in Dallas, you were on a knee, kneeling, holding hands with protesters, talking to a large group of young people. What were you saying to them?
Basically, what I was saying is, I understand your pain. I understand what you're feeling, and I understand that the journey that you're on. It is not my intention as an officer, as a black man, to tell you not to follow your journey and not to try to get the satisfaction that you need with the things that are going on in police world. But I also told them, as you follow this journey, please understand that I want you to do it safely. I don't want you to tear up the city. I don't want you hurting any citizens inside the city, because we all have to come together for that common goal to make sure things are improved in the United States as a whole.
So as we've processed everything that's happened since the last 2 weeks, since Mr. Floyd's death, as we've processed that, seen the riots, the destruction, heard the voices cry for transformation, reform, even defunding police, where do you stand as a police officer? First question on those kinds of things, and what is it going to take to really transform?
First and foremost, as my profession as a police officer, I understand that, man, it's tough being an officer in 2020. I really understand that. But my cries to the public would be, we are needed, but we do have some work to do. And if we're going to keep this profession as noble as it should be, then we, as a society of police officers across the country, we have to do a better job. And I understand why people are upset. I'm upset myself, and I work in a position and in the profession every day. And you got to also understand it's a profession that many years has been on the wrong side of the law, where you could do things back in the 50s and 60s that you can't do now. There are things that, when I became an officer 24 years ago, that might have been acceptable then, you can't do it now. It's frowned upon. So it's constant changing within the law enforcement itself. With that being said, we as officers have to understand the back end of everything that has transpired over the last 10 years with unarmed black men getting killed, unarmed black women getting killed in their homes and things of that nature. That's something we have to own.
For us to be successful in this moment, and this is a turning point moment in our society, and for us to be successful, what must happen between police and the people they pledge to protect and serve?
You have to have a dialogue between the community and the police and actually respect what the community is asking. As I said, you don't have to like anything anyone's asking for, but in order for us to get what we need to get, we have to be genuine and we have to respect what they're asking for. And we do have to understand inside our profession, there are some issues that need to be changed. There are some things that we need to work on. And so we have to admit that when we go to the table to talk to the general public or the citizens in the neighborhood. But what we also have to understand this too, Mr. Rabb, is it is very hard for you to police a community when you know nothing about that community. If you're inside a community and there were some issues with the police years ago and you know nothing about that, when they bring that issue up and you can't elaborate on it, the first thing they're gonna say is, well, you're not here, you really don't care. How they judge us is how we act toward them on the first time that they've ever had a crisis and had to call police. So if we get out there and we're not professional and we're not doing the things that we need to do, okay, and we don't see the light on the other end of the tunnel or how we should act toward that citizen, then guess what's going to happen to that citizen when we leave there? It's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. Are there some good officers in this profession? Yes, I think I'm one of them. And I think there are a lot of good officers that I work with. Will I say, do we need work? Yes, we do.
Sergeant Ira Carter, thank you for taking time to have this conversation, one that's needed not only for our viewers, but that's needed on street corners, needed in restaurants, needed in churches, needed in our community, that we can come together and move forward. Sergeant Ira Carter, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed day.